Ristar is the result of an early version of Sonic the Hedgehog. Apparently when Yuji Naka and his Sonic team were in the planning stages of the first Sonic game, one of their ideas was a platform game starring a rabbit that could grab things with his ears. That evolved into a character with extendable arms, but when the idea of a really fast character took over, the stretchy arms weren't necessary anymore. Years later, Naka decided to resurrect the stretchy-armed character into Ristar, one of the last platformers for the Mega Drive. The game looks pretty amazing. It's easily one of the best looking Mega Drive games ever. It runs at a slower and more deliberate pace than Sonic and therefore needs to be approached with a different mentality. Just take your time, try to find a way to get your arms to move you forwards. Because it's such a colourful platform game, I initially felt compelled to jump on enemies' heads, but I soon learned that wasn't going to work. Ristar's arms are the star attraction here. Star attraction, see what I did there? He can use his arms to grab enemies and then he slams them into his face. Let's see that again. BAM! Dude, that's about the most badass thing I've ever seen a video game character do. Ristar the character though, is a bit of a pussycat. Check out his voice. Oh, why do I always feel creepy every time he says that to me? I'm not really surprised he never got a sequel because as a character he's pretty lame. He's not a patch on Sonic. Ristar flies between planets and each one has its own unique theme. Most of them are what you'd expect: underwater world, boiling hot world, frozen icy world, etc, etc. There's even a musical world like in Sparkstar. It's good that Ristar finds himself doing different stuff in each world. Like here, he has to carry a metronome across the level to give to singing birds, as you do. Bottom line, Ristar is certainly no Sonic, but the game's still pretty good, and it definitely deserves to be put in the category of better Mega Drive games. Continuing on with the platform theme, let's go to Disneyland. Mickey's second Super Nintendo game is called The Great Circus Mystery, but it doesn't really have much to do with the circus besides the first level taking place in an abandoned Big Top. In fact, the story's even stupider than the first game, but whatever, I don't suppose plot was on the most important list at Capcom when they were making this game. The main thing is, it's incredibly similar to the first game. Think of how similar Mega Man games are from title to title and you get the idea. It's not that they're bad games, there's just a strong feeling that we've been here before. Like Mega Man changes his weapon in each game though, Mickey, and Minnie this time, get to try on 3 new outfits. The vacuum cleaner is the most useless of the lot. Besides using it to grind coins from regenerating enemies, it has very little real world function. The safari suit, I reckon, is the coolest. Mickey and Minnie can use it to cling to walls or swing from grapples and slide down ropes. Only problem with that one is there's no attack that comes with it. The third one is the strangest. It's a hobby horse and a pop gun. Hilarious to try and control when you first get it, but you soon begin to appreciate how tricky it is when you're trying to time your jumps just right. Anyway, The Great Circus Mystery is insanely easy, mostly because it's got infinite continues, and even when you continue, it'll drop you at the last checkpoint you reach, not at the start of the level. My 6-year-old nephew and I played through the entire game in an afternoon. We had a really great time playing it together, but yeah, the only longevity you'll get from this is in repeated playthroughs. Some of the bosses can be tricky though. There's a couple that I found particularly infuriating, and others that didn't pose much of a challenge at all. It's a bit inconsistent like that. I'm not sure exactly, but I think it's a bit bigger than the first game. It feels bigger. But there's been no change to the controls at all since the Magical Quest. Mickey and Minnie control pretty well, but there were a few times where I just felt like they weren't accurate enough. Anytime you get frustrated with this game though, you forgive it pretty quick, knowing that with infinite continues you're never going to be stuck for long. There was also a Magical Quest 3, which had Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck as the playable characters. Unfortunately, that one was only released in Japan. So, bottom line. Nice graphics, pretty annoying music, decent gameplay, good for an afternoon of fun. On the plus side, there's a simultaneous 2-player option which works really well. On the minus side, it's nothing that you'd ever think of calling original, but it's still another quality Capcom platformer that's just as good as the first game, so it stands. Only 14 more episodes to go until my year and a bit is over. Next week it's a big epic adventure and whatever the opposite of that is. Peace is out of here.